Does it happen with you that when the year is coming to an end, you look back and you think that you wish you had done things differently, you had lived your life differently, and then tell yourself that, the coming year I'm going to make it really good, only to be disappointed at the end of the next year? If this has happened with you, you're not alone. This is something that happens again and again with most people, till such time that many years have passed and we look back at our life with some amount of regret. But it need not be that way. And I'm going to be talking about how you can envision the coming year to be able to create the life that you really want. Hi, I'm Divya Tampi. I'm an emotional wellness and a mid-career coach. And in this session, I will be talking about the two-part process that you can use for envisioning and creating the new year that you really want to, living the life of your dreams. There's a reason why New Year resolutions fail, because they are not really based on a fundamental understanding of how you want your life to be. Rather, they are momentary, and that's something that you come up with in the spur of the moment. And that's why it generally doesn't work. Okay, but today, let's look at the various steps involved in envisioning the life that you really want so that you can live it out in the coming year. One of the first things that you need to do is this process generally takes about a full day. So you would want to keep aside one day. However, if you are short on time, you can reduce that to half a day. But you have to take out at least that much to make sure that you are living life the way you want to. I'm sure you'd agree with me that's a good investment of time. So decide on a date and a time when you're going to do this. There are 2-3 ways in which you could go about doing this. You could either do this on your own. It works. However, it works even better when you're doing it along with other people. So this is something that I used to do along with a few friends whom I was close to, and we would get together. We would decide on 2 days. So this is something that we used to do over a period of 2 days, but it can also be done over a period of 1 day or half a day. Depends on how elaborately you want to do it. So decide on a day when you have some time off, when you know you're not going to be distracted, or maybe you want to just inform all the people in your life, whether it's your workplace, whether it's your family members, letting them know that you're not going to be available for that entire day or for the half day. Also find a place where you're not going to be distracted. Try and keep your mobile phones off and not have your laptop along with you. This is an immersive process, and it's important that you are able to completely focus on this while you're doing this. A few things that you need to have when you're trying to do this process is a few pieces of paper, some pens, some pencils. It would be really nice if you have colored pens or crayons or sketch pens, and also large sheets of paper like chart papers. That's pretty much all you're going to need, other than some water and food to eat when you feel hungry. So let's get started. The first thing that you want to do is to sit down along with the group of people that you are in. The group size should not be more than 6 people, so anywhere from 2 people to 6 people is a good number. Sit down together and ground yourself by bringing your attention to your breath. If you think about it, if you're going to somebody's house, you take off your shoes or chappals if you are an Indian person, and then get into the house. Similarly, if you are trying to work on your laptop and if you really want to focus on the one thing that you're working on, it helps if you were to shut down all the other programs which are running in the background. Similarly, if you want to give your full focus to this one activity, it's important that you keep away anything that has the potential to distract you from this activity. Now, once you have grounded yourself, the next thing to do is to take out a sheet of paper and start looking back at the previous year, in this case 2021, and look at the year 1 week at a time and see what are some of the significant things that have happened in your life. Significant in terms of your work, in terms of your personal life, in terms of your family, finances, health, wealth, everything. For those of you who are in the habit of maintaining a journal, it may be quite easy for you to do this kind of a tracking. because you may have recorded some of that or documented some of that. But for those of us who are not used to maintaining journals, some of the ways in which you could go about doing this is to look back at your calendar, because if you are in the habit of maintaining appointments, that would actually help you. If you are not in the habit of documenting anything or maintaining appointments, in that case you can actually look at the gallery, the photo gallery of your phone. Because if you have been taking photographs, that will kind of remind you of all the things that have happened over the period of the last 1 year. The other option is for you to start thinking in terms of January, February, March, and some of the important festivals and holidays in those months, and what is it that you may have been doing during that period of time. Generally, it's not a good idea to simply rely on your memory to remember all the significant events that happened in your life. You need to have some kind of record that you can look back at. And also, one of the risks when trying to do this only based on your memory is that we tend to remember the things which have happened more recently. So this is called the recency effect, where we will remember much more clearer about the things that have happened in the last 2 to 3 months, and may completely forget a lot of things that may have happened in the first half of the year. And that is why it really helps to have some kind of a reference point. So once you have written down all the different significant things that may have happened in your life, at this point it's important that you don't try to categorize them. Just capture all the different events that have happened. You don't even have to try and think too much about whether it is significant enough or not. As and when it comes into your mind, just keep capturing them. Once this is done, you want to take another sheet of paper and divide it into 6 different boxes. Okay, the first one will be personal and family. The second one would be friends and community. The third one would be work. The fourth one would be physical health. The fifth one would be mental health, and the sixth one would be finances. If you want to come up with more categories, you're free to do that. For example, you could also have a category called spirituality. That's really up to you. You could also have a section which is interests and hobbies, which could be different from personal. The idea is now that you have captured all the different events significant events that have happened in your life, you put them into these different categories so that you are able to look at the gist of what has happened in your life in the last 1 year on a single sheet of paper. Once you are done with this, then you start answering some of these questions that I'm going to tell you about. The first question is, what are the top 5 to 6 achievements and accomplishments that you have had in the last 1 year? Try and include all the different areas. For example, when we talk about achievement and accomplishment, generally the thing that comes to mind are things which are related to your work. But it could also be achievements in relation to your physical health, in relation to your relationships. For example, last year one of the things that I did manage to achieve was to be able to do a headstand, which I was not able to do before that. So for me, that's like an achievement in the physical health area. Similarly, if you have been able to improve your relationship with somebody which was not so great before that, that would be another accomplishment. I don't really have to tell you too many details about what work accomplishments look like. Once you have written down the top 5 to 6 achievements and accomplishments, answer these 3 questions. The first one being, what are some things that you did which made it possible for you to achieve and accomplish whatever it is that you did? The second question, who are some of the people who helped you through the process to become successful? Question number 3, how do you feel about it? Chances are you probably feel proud, or you feel some amount of joy or a sense of satisfaction or fulfillment. The next question is, what are the top 3 challenges that you faced in the last 1 year? Now again, these could be challenges that you faced in your personal life. Maybe it is some illness that happened in the family, or some issues that happened in the neighborhood, or it could be some difficulty that you faced in your workplace, or maybe it is even like losing a job, or a project that you had been working on not going the way you wanted it to go. Okay, so write down these challenges and then answer the question. First, what is it that you learned from going through this situation? Second, who are some of the people who helped you through this situation, even if it may not have gone very well? Third, how do you feel about it? Okay, now once you have done these two sections of the activity, it's really important to share this with the other members of the group if you're doing this with a group. And this kind of reflection and sharing is a very, very powerful process. In fact, when we are moving from one day to the next, moving from one activity to the next, we just keep living lives and don't really stop to look back or reflect on how we are living our lives. But the meaning making of life happens when we stop to reflect. So life becomes more meaningful when we take these pauses and reflect on how we are living our life. Once you're done with the sharing of reflection with people in the group and others have shared the same with you, it's time for you to pause and think about what are some of the things that you feel regretful about. Chances are the last section where you thought about the challenges that you face, it's highly probable that you may come up with things that you feel regretful about, that you feel upset about, that you feel angry with yourself about or angry with others about. And this is a time when you genuinely and deliberately let these go. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you may have made or the things that you may not have done. Forgive others for the things that they may have done or that they may not have done. So this is the first part of the entire process and a very important part, because if you do not do this part, which is the review and reflection of how the last year has gone, you cannot do the second part of envisioning the next year powerfully. And once this part is done, it's really important that you take a break. So you may want to do this in two parts. Either you can do this first half of one day for about 2 to 3 hours and then continue with the second part of the process the next day. Or then you can do it in the two halves of the day, which means that you do the review process in the first part of the day, then take a break for lunch, maybe go for a walk, release the energy that you experience, and then come back fresh for the next part, which is the envisioning process. When starting the second part, also you may want to ground yourself by bringing your attention to the breath and taking 2 minutes to stay there mindful before you start the process. The way you go about starting this is to close your eyes and think about each area of your life and try to visualize how you would like each of the areas of your life to be like. For example, if you're thinking about your personal and family life, what is the image that comes to your mind? Do you see yourself holidaying with your family? Or if you're thinking about work, how would you like your work life to be like? Would you like to be working on new projects? Would you like to be starting something of your own? Would you like to be doing something more meaningful? Okay. So try and come up with really pay attention to the image that comes to your mind, because we think in images and it's much more easier for us to capture the images. Do this for each area of your life and capture the image roughly on a sheet of paper for each of these areas. You may also want to write down some words. For example, if you are talking about personal life and the image that came to your mind was that of a holiday in, let's say, Ooty, you may want to write down the name of the place, or you may want to say, family vacation at the beach or something like that. So just capture a few words which capture the idea for you along with the image. Now, one very important thing to remember here is when I say capture the image, this is not about you being a great artist and being good at drawing. This is about just capturing in the form of images. This could be stick figures, anything which symbolizes the vision that came to your mind. It is not for anybody else, it is only for your consumption. Once you have done this, now answer these 3 questions. The first one is, what are the 2 to 3 habits that you would like to inculcate in the coming year, which would help you to convert the vision that you had into reality? The second, what are some of the skills, maximum 2 to 3 skills that you would like to develop over the period of 2022 or any year that you're doing this for, which would actually help you to grow and become the kind of person that you wanted to become? The third, who are the people who have supported you in the past or you think are the kind of people that you want to be truly connected to, because the kind of people that we collaborate with has a huge impact in how our life turns out. Okay, so capture the answers to these questions as well. And once you're done with this, you want to take out 30 minutes or an hour, even an hour and a half, to draw these images on a large sheet of paper with colored pens or crayons, but use color as much as you possibly can. And you could, it could be a large sheet of paper with 4 or 5 or 7 or 8 images. There really are no guidelines to what your vision board should look like. It's completely up to you. I've seen vision boards which look very artistic because it has been done by somebody who is artistic, and I've also seen vision boards which are very powerful despite the fact that the person has no sense of drawing whatsoever. Like I said, it is very important to remember that this is not about your artistic skills or drawing skills. This is about the vision that you have in your mind. Okay, so capture the important images, write the year. Okay, so if it's 2022, write it at the top of the sheet. And here, what you have in your hand right now, once you're done, is your vision board. Now, the last step is probably the most important step. Put up this vision board at your home or in your office, preferably at a place where you can see it on a regular basis. So you may want to put it up on top of your mirror, you may want to put it up inside your cupboard door or on the wall where you see it every single day. And in fact, if you're not very comfortable with drawing on your own, I would highly recommend that you draw with your hands. But if that makes you very, very uncomfortable, the other option that you have is also to use cutouts from paper or magazines, etc. Even that works. Okay, but basically you want to have some visual representation of what you want to have, what you want your next year to look like. And once you put it up where you can see it on a daily basis, make sure that you spend a few minutes every day in the morning after you wake up and in the evening before you go to sleep to look at your vision board. It is amazing what becomes possible when your mind is imbued with this image day after day, every single day. The things that you want to achieve become much easier to achieve. The things that actually happen in our lives are the things that we give our focus to. And once we make a vision board, we automatically focus on the things that we want in our lives. Our mind can hold only 4 to 5 pieces of information at any given point of time. And in today's world of millions of distractions, it's very hard to keep our focus on any one thing. Right? So it's very difficult to remember the things that we want in our lives unless we capture them in the form of images and put it right in front of us where we can see that on a regular basis. Of course, you can go beyond this and also set some goals based on the visions that you have and come up with plans on how you're going to execute it. Okay, and that would work out really well if you are willing to take those steps. But even if you did not do those, just having this vision in itself is a very powerful process which increases your chances of achieving the things that you want in comparison to when you don't do an envisioning process. If you like this video and if you found it useful, make sure that you like the video and also subscribe so that you get notified every time I come up with a new video. Thank you so very much for watching this video. It also tells me about how focused you are on living a better life with every passing day. This is Divya Tampi. I'll be signing off now and I'll come back again with the next video.